What is up, people, and welcome back to my Rags to Riches F1 2010 to 2014 career mode. This is the career mode where we go from one of the worst teams in F1 2010, work our way through the ranks and through the teams, and try and get a drive for one of the best teams in F1 2014. If you have missed any of the episodes of this series, then you can go catch up with a card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens. And if you are new to the series and you want to go check out the rules and regulations, they will all be down in the description as well. So we're here at round 10 of the F1 2011 season, the German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring. Let's have a look at the emails going into today's race. The race information for today: qualifying 9th and finish in 6th. That seems more likely for myself. It's going to be heavy rain for the whole entire race weekend, pretty much. Qualifying in the race, heavy rain. I'm not too sure how well I do in the heavy rain, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. Hopefully it's gonna be just like F1 2010, where we can absolutely demolish in the wet weather, but we're just gonna have to wait and see, and hopefully it is like that. Right, equal status with Rubens Barrichello, which is always good to see. That's nice. And mid-season press coverage, and the touch. Okay, so these are just things that have happened so far that we don't even need to worry about. So anything else that we need to talk about? Yes, we need to talk about the driver standings. We're currently in P6, 22 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton in P7, which means that we have got a Williams seat at the moment at the halfway stage going into next season. But we need to try and hold on to that, or maybe try and get a Force India seat for F1 2012. We're just going to have to wait and see. So without any further ado, let's head over to the race weekend for the German Grand Prix. Right, okay, not the best of starts to the lap there, but I am just getting used to this new circuit, which I have not driven on in over a year now. So, yeah, give me a little bit of leeway, but here we go. Qualifying, one-shot qualifying at the Nürburgring. Let's see what we can do, and hopefully we don't make too many stupid mistakes like that getting on the grass straight away. Okay, that's not a good start to the lap. So goddamn slow. So slow through that corner. And I've got it wide. Okay, right. I'm probably going to be starting at the back on this race. Yep, I'm definitely going to be starting at the back. What am I doing? What are you doing, Hayden? There we go. That's better. That's better. Right, come on. Let's sort it out. Already 2 seconds too slow. Brilliant. Great start to qualifying. We've only done one sector, Hayden. Come on. Right, if I remember correctly, this is flat out. No, it's not. Okay, right. It was nearly flat out. Right, come on. I've surely got to do better. 7 seconds! I'm on the wrong tyre, surely. Surely I'm on the wrong tyre. No, they're on the orange tyres as well. Surely I'm on the wrong tyre. There is no way I'm 7... okay, and I've completely messed up the chicane once again. That's a lot tighter than you think, that chicane. A lot tighter than you think going in, but this is going to be last, surely. Surely it's going to be last. Round the final corner, down towards the line. It's 10 seconds slower. Are we even allowed? We're not even last. What on earth is going on? How are we 10 seconds slower? We're still somehow going to be allowed to race, but Jerome D'Ambrosio is slower, and so is Jarno Trulli. Wow. Sebastian Vettel, 2 seconds faster. He must have set that lap time on intermediate tyres. Why didn't we think of that? Why did we not think of that? We should have maybe just took the gamble, gone on intermediate tyres, and, yeah, maybe got higher up the field. But we are going to be starting right from the back. And like I said in the last episode, we need to pick it up in qualifying. What do? We go and get a worse result than we have done. The only time we've done worse than that is Malaysia, I think, where we got 24th. That's absolutely terrible. 22nd position, 10 seconds slower. Oh my god, right, it's going to be difficult to try and score points here today then, unless it's because some of those guys set their lap times on intermediate tyres. But Sebastian Vettel, he gets pole with Fernando Alonso alongside him in 2nd. Nico Rosberg, good qualifying session there for the Mercedes driver, qualifying in P3, with Lewis Hamilton 4th, Jenson Button 5th, Mark Webber down in 9th, and Felipe Massa way down the field in 15th. So he is not having a good halfway stage of the season. But what can we do in the race? Let's find out as we head down to the race for the German Grand Prix. That was the worst worded phrase of a sentence I have ever done. I'm still messing up. Let's just go to the race. It's race day. It is the German Grand Prix, and it is actually dry out on track. It said it was supposed to be heavy rain, but it's dry out on track. What on earth is going on? There's a 63% chance of rain, so the rain is going to come down at some point. But when? When is the rain going to come down? Is it going to come down early on, or is it going to come down later? I'm going to take a gamble. I'm going to go on the prime tyres at the start and go to the option tyres at the end if it doesn't rain. But if it does, and it does come down after the option tyre stint, then we could actually gain a lot of time on the guys ahead of us running on those option tyres at the start. Hopefully we can put on some pressure in the dry as well. Once again, Rubens Barrichello actually out-qualified me, so it's now 7-3. I really need to pick up the pace if I want to beat him on all 5 in this season. With he's finally out-raced me this season at the last round of the British Grand Prix. Not a good race for me at that one. But the race strategy for today, pitting for the prime tyres at the moment on lap 7, but I could probably take it to lap 8 if I have to. If the rain comes down, I need to switch over. But we're not too sure. We haven't changed conditions so far in the Rags to Riches series, so I'm not too sure when I have to come into the pits for instead of intermediates. Hopefully Jeff will come in on the radio and let me know, but also I can look around at other drivers as well and sort of get a feel for when I need to come into the pits. But that's it. That's everything we need to talk about going into today's race. Let's head down to the track and get the race underway. There is Sebastian Vettel lining up in pole position once again. He has been absolutely destroying qualifying in recent races. Rubens Barrichello in 13th place, and there's myself, 22nd on the grid. Not a good qualifying from myself. Not entirely sure how I was 10 seconds off the pace, but let's see what we can do in the race. It's 5 red lights, it's lights out, and away we go. The lights held on for hardly any time at all then. We're going to go down in towards turn 1, take the inside line in towards this corner, hopefully brake very early. Oh, I've had contact there with the HRT as I try to go side by side. It's going to be nice and tight through turn 1, as it always is. And in towards turn 2 here. Tricky corner, which we actually messed up in the qualifying session. Paul Ressa actually getting it messed up there. I'm going to go in between both Force India drivers. Try not to take them out, as I took out Sitil last time around at the British Grand Prix. A little bit of a tyre bang with Paul Di Resta there, but finally managing to get through. And maybe not the cleanest of overtakes, but we got through in the end. So there's a big cluster of cars fighting their way down into the chicane. We need to remember to go slow into these corners and not make the mistake that we did in the qualifying session. There we go, getting through nice and cleanly finally in this race. But can we gain on Mark Webber? We're gaining on him ever so slightly, only by a few yards every single sector of this track. But it is gaining. We are gaining at the moment on the Red Bull drive, which is good news. He's batting at the moment with Nick Heidfeld as we completely destroy the bollard. We do need to be careful with that, because I believe there is a invisible wall glitch with bollards. I don't know whether that was F1 2011 or F1 2013. But it was definitely one of them, and there was definitely one with that bollard at this circuit, as I've run it very wide in towards that corner. Tricky corner, that one. You need to get it perfect. But we are still on the back of Mark Webber, looking to maybe try and get past the Red Bull driver very, very quickly. Not if we make mistakes like that, but we've still got it on the black stuff, and oh, that was close. We could have easily put it into the gravel there, as Paul Di Resta looks to maybe go for the overtake on us, but not just yet, as we've once again made a mistake very deep into the hairpin. Can we get through though without any contact with Di Resta? Yes, we can. Oh, big old battles going in towards the chicane now. Lovely to see all these drivers going side by side in towards the chicane. Can we gain any time? Yes, we can on Mark Webber. Look at that, flying over the curb there in towards this final corner. And there we go, job done on Mark Webber. Moving up into the points now and hunting down Nick Heidfeld for 9th position. Can we get any more points in today's race? No sign of rain just of yet, but we'll wait and see what happens, as I'm going to maybe try and go for the overtake on Mark Webber, which I can do. Yes, I can. There we go, around the outside of turn 1. He's fighting it back though into turn 2. Still side by side between the two of us. And there we go, getting the job done into turn 3. Lovely jubbly. Kobayashi going very, very defensive in towards the hairpin. If I can get this right this time, I may have the chance to pounce him, which I have done. Nice line through that corner, and here we go, right on the back of the Sauber driver. Now I need to get this corner perfect, which I have done. Look at that! Right behind Kobayashi, following in the slipstream, side by side, down towards his left hand, and possibly go around the outside of the Sauber driver, still side by side between the two of us. And there we go, getting the job done and moving up another position, unfortunately putting it into the gravel, and that's allowed Kobayashi to get back past us. But we have got DRS. We have got DRS on this driver, and here we go. He's going defensive. We're going to go around the outside in towards the chicane, side by side once again between myself and Kobayashi, and there we go, job done. Up into P8 and now hunting down Jaime Alguersuari. Okay, light rain is coming down in 10 minutes time. I don't think that's going to be in reference with my pit stop strategy, but we'll just have to wait and see. Just like Kobayashi, Jaime Alguersuari is going very defensive into the hairpin. If I can get this right, which I haven't quite done, but I've got a great exit compared to Jaime Alguersuari. Now, can I get him up the hill? It's going to be very, very difficult to go for an overtake through here, which there's not really too much space. We're going to go side by side, possibly in towards this left-hander. Not quite just yet. Got straight into the back of Jaime Alguersuari through there, so that's not exactly the best thing. Not really what we want to do. Not a good line through that corner either, but we are still very much on the back of him, using Slipstream, using DRS and using Kurz as we go down in towards the chicane. We're on the right-hand side. Got the job done before we even get there, and there we go, moving up into P7. Oh, taking so much curb there through that corner, but moving up into P7 and now hunting down Lewis Hamilton. Oh, nearly lost the back end there. Nearly just threw that whole race away. That was a close one. It's a drive off the track. It's a Ferrari of Fernando Alonso out of today's race. That's going to push me up into P6 in this race. Absolutely fantastic news. But Fernando Alonso out of the German Grand Prix. Big surprise very early on in this race. The rain is falling out on track for the first time this season, and for the first time in this Rags to Riches series, we're actually going to see a change of weather out on track. The rain is coming down. Driver into the pits at the moment. I doubt that's going to be for a change of wet tyres, because it is the pit stop phase at the moment. It's time for the drivers to come into pits if they were driving on the options and pitting for the primes. So it looks like my strategy could actually work if it gets worse enough for the intermediate tyres by the time I have to come into the pits for a set of options. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that does happen. If it does, then I've just pulled off one of the greatest strategies ever. Lots of drivers coming into the pits at the moment. Not too sure whether they are coming into the pits for dries or for wet tyres. I'm presuming they're coming into pits for the dry tyres. I'm going to set it ready to come into pits for the intermediate tyres. Not too sure when exactly I am going to do that. I'm just going to wait and see for the call from Jeff. And they've gone for a new set of prime tyres. So they are going very, very long in today's race. And they are actually not going onto the wet tyres because the rain is coming down. And it is going to get worse. It is going to be intermediate tyres at some point in this race. I've just got to try and hold on for as long as I possibly can on these prime tyres. Unfortunately, just don't know when exactly the crossover point is. And that is what could really lose me this race. It could lose me this race. If I come in too early or too late, then it could definitely lose me this race. So I need to come into pits at exactly the right moment. Right, the track still feels okay, so I'm going to stay out for another lap. Not going to come into the pits for intermediate tyres just yet, but running very wide on that final corner. Anybody else coming into pits? No, they are not. So it looks like I've made a good choice at the moment. Do we come into the pits for a set of intermediate tyres or not? I'm really not sure. I'm honestly really not sure at the moment. I think we can stay out. The tyres don't look too badly. They're not at the stage where they are definitely going to pop. I think that's when they get to red. They could definitely pop very soon. I think let's stay out for one more lap, and then let's come into the pits on the next one. Let's come into the pits on this lap for a set of intermediate tyres. Right, I think it's definitely time to come into the pits for intermediate tyres. I'm really, really struggling for grip at the moment. I'm really struggling right now for grip out on track. To the fact that I'm having to lift off through that corner because I don't feel comfortable that I'm going to get through there flat out. So time to come into the pits for a set of intermediate tyres. Definitely time to come into the pits. I may be mistaken. The other drivers may decide to stay out, but it's only going to be a matter of time anyway before we come into pits for Inter. Surely we cannot stay out on these dries. Although we seem to make that corner fine, so maybe it's not. But I'm going to take that gamble. I'm going to take the gamble. I'm going to come into pits on this lap for a set of intermediate tyres. So just make sure I've got the intermediate tyres set. Right, into the pits. Intermediate tyres. Let's do this. Let's go on to a set of intermediates. Hopefully, it's the right tyre to go on. If not, we've lost this race. But I feel like we would have lost this race anyway because we would have had to come into pits for a set of options. And they're not going to be as good anyway. They'll just be fresher. So, yeah. Intermediate tyres it is. We're going to come out in P7 at the moment, which isn't too badly. But let's see if we can pick up the pace on the other guys ahead of us. Not a good line through there. But it is at intermediate tyres at the moment. They're not too bad. They're gripping okay. But are they quicker than the dries? Probably not. Look at that line. That was terrible. I'm not too sure. I'm really not too sure what tyre's best. Okay, we have got a driver in the pits at the moment. Not too sure who exactly it is. It's Felipe Massa. Okay, so Felipe Massa did exactly what I did. Went for primes, but has he come in for a set of intermediate tyres? We're not actually too sure. what tyre he is exactly on. But look at the rain. Look at the rain now. Surely it's time for intermediate tyres. But with only 2 laps left to go, the AI drivers may not come into the pits. So they may try and hold it out on dries. We're just going to have to wait and see what exactly happens, whether we can actually get a good result or not. 3 seconds is the gap to the guys ahead. Hopefully we can close up on that. Okay then, the AI drivers are not coming into the pits on this final lap of the race. So what can we do? Are they going to be slower on this final lap? Surely they have to be. They're on dry tyres. Look at the track. It is surely time to be on intermediate tyres. They have made a terrible decision to stay out. But how are they still keeping up? This is impossible. This is absolutely impossible for the AI drivers to be this quick on a wet track. This is amazing to see. Hopefully, though, we can catch up to these guys and get past them very, very quickly because we need to get it. We need to get as many points as we possibly can. The car ahead has a puncher. Okay, that's interesting to see that one of the cars ahead has a puncher. I'm not too sure it's the car directly ahead of us. He looks like he's going very quickly. So, Jeff, either you've given me wrong information or he is driving very, very fast for a guy with a puncher. But look how much quicker we are through corners now. Look at that. Look how much quicker we are compared to Vitaly Petrov through the corners. But it's not going to be enough for a race win, which is a little bit gutting. I was hoping I could get a race win here today, but we can break a lot later than Vitaly Petrov through this corner. And there we go. Job done on Petrov. How are we going to do against these McLarens? Oh, don't put in the gravel. No, 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 no! It's not what I need. Petrov, stay away. Stay away, Petrov. No, 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 no. It's not going to work. Not going to work, but here we are closing in on these two guys, Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Can we get them? Can we get them? I've got a corner cutting warning as I think Sebastian Vettel has just won the race. Up the inside, though, of Lewis Hamilton into the final corner. Puts me up into P4. And there we go. Not quite a podium here today, but it's P4 from 22nd on the grid. Not too sure how on earth those guys managed to survive on dry tyres on that wet track, because it was not that dry. It was not dry enough for the dry tyres to still work, and there was still an 11-second gap between myself and Sebastian Vettel. So not too sure what happened there, but a win for Sebastian Vettel here today and a second place for Jenson Button. That's going to put those two very close in the Drivers' Championship after today's race, but let's have a look at that in a second. Nico Rosberg finishes in 3rd with myself in 4th. Good points here today. And Lewis Hamilton finishing in 5th with Vitaly Petrov in 6th, Felipe Massa in 7th, then it's Jaime Alonso in 8th, Mark Webber 9th, and Kamui Kobayashi once again getting the final point here today. Any real surprise? Michael Schumacher way down in 14th place with my teammate Rubens Barrichello in 16th. And Fernando Alonso, like I said earlier, did not finish on about lap 5. So disappointment there for Fernando Alonso. Let's have a look and see how this affects us in the Drivers' Championship. 6th place still, not too far away from Fernando Alonso in the Championship. We'll be looking to close up that gap, that 8-point gap in the next race. We've now got a good old 24-point gap over Lewis Hamilton as well. We're currently in a Williams seat, which is nice and fine indeed. And there is only a 7-point gap between Jenson Button and Sebastian Vettel in the Drivers' Championship. Nice to see a little rivalry developing between those two like it did in the real-life F1 2011 season. Constructors' Championship now, and we are still ahead of Mercedes GP, but the gap, I'm not too sure whether it's close up or not. Nico Rosberg it has, because Nico Rosberg got a better result than we did here today. So they've closed up a little bit by 3 points here today, but that's not really going to be too much. But if they have more results like that, then it could be very close between the two of us come the end of the season. But that is it for today's German Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. A great result here today then at the German Grand Prix, starting 22nd and somehow managing to get back up into P4. What a result here today. Looking at the emails, we've actually got a contract renewal for Williams for next season. We are not carrying on the F1 2011 season, though we don't know whether we've got a Williams contract for the actual F1 2012 game yet. We just need to wait and see what happens at the end of the season. So that's nice to see that Frank Williams is offering us a contract in this F1 2011 career mode, but we are not going to accept. Looking at the standings one more time before we end today's episode. Still in P6, still in fact in a Williams seat for F1 2012, but Lewis Hamilton, he is hot on our heels, and we're also not too far off the pace of Felipe Massa, who currently holds on to P3 in the championship as well. So we will be looking to maybe try and close up the gap to the Brazilian, and maybe even try and get that Force India seat as well. I'd really like to get that. If I can get Force India seat for next season, that will give me the best chance of possibly trying to get the better seats in F1 2013. But that's it for today's episode. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to smash a like on today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for daily Formula 1 content, and I will see you next time at the Hungarian Grand Prix. A race which I don't tend to do very well at, but hopefully I can change my fortunes in the next episode. But I'll see you then. But until then, it's goodbye from me.